cold of fall. The soaking rain dripped from the roof. He looked out the window, the trees, now almost barren, of the fiery fall colors. Now they lay dark, ominous, and eerie. He put another log in the wood stove. The family photo album lay on the coffee table. The cabin had 4 bedrooms, but only one was being used. Sometimes. Last night he lay on the sofa, listening to the crackling fire and the rain on the tin roof, eyes red from crying and remembering the family he once had, the life he once had, all now lost. There would be no more, "Hey Dad, check this out," or the hunting and fishing trips. No more pictures of the good times, the warm embrace of his wife, long since forgotten. The touch of another human, a thing of the past. His last companion, a gray-muzzled 13-something, old dog, that could barely get around in this cold and damp. Before the sickness hit, he had it all. The big house, the nice cars, the big boat, the big parties, and the late-night important meetings. His wife would often call him crazy for wanting this old cabin. She would often joke about playing Laura Ingalls when they would go for the weekend. She admitted many times, on the long ride home, how peaceful it was there and how much she loved being unplugged. She would look in the back of the Suburban and smile at the 3 kids, all fast asleep. It had been 5 years since he buried his son, almost to the day. He would have been 18. Such a waste. He recalled the last conversation he had with his dying boy. "Don't forget about me, Dad. I love you. You're the best dad a kid could ever have." The man wept at the memory. These are the things that haunt you, he thought. Life is really empty without people to love, people to communicate with. He remembered the day it started, the sore on his wife's arm. No big deal, they thought. Within 72 hours, his wife and millions more would succumb to an unknown disease. The months that followed was seeing him lose his 2 daughters, and then his son. As he watched over the field through the dripping eaves, the yellow slicker and blue-booted one looked under the apple trees, her little red pail with a dozen or so apples filled to the brim. She looked at the house and waved, then went on back into the woods. He often wondered who she was. She was maybe 5 or 6 years old. If it wasn't apples, it was stuff from the garden. He watched her from a tree stand one day, skipping through the woods without a care. He'd been all over looking for life. Nothing but skeletons and death was all he ever found. Why he never followed her, even he did not know. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was fear of her parents, or fear of losing her. He worried for her. What if an animal got her, or worse, the human animals? The winter was going to be cold. How could she make it if she were alone? All these things the man considered. All these things made him shiver at the thought his little friend might just be alone. He placed a waterproof sack under the apple trees, had a small quilt, some canned food, some crayons, and a half-used notepad. He told her if she was alone, his door would always be open to her. Just knock. If she wasn't alone, he would like to meet her parents, and maybe they could come live with him if they were in a dire situation. After several days, the sack was not gone. He went looking for the little one. The camp he found was in shambles. two parental skeletons sit by a fire ring with no fire. She watched the older man poke around from the stump that was all hollow. He lay the sack and basket of apples next to the red pail. The end.